Friends and family that were with me pre-MBA and post-MBA. It's really about managing expectations, and I didn't beat around the bush by any means with my friends that I had pre-MBA. Is that it is a time commitment, and it's something that's important to me. And I think that said, you can still manage to have a social life and go to school. You're going to make a lot of friends at Anderson, and you're going to have a lot of friends outside Anderson, and those worlds are going to come together at some point, whether it's in the on-campus events or the off-campus extracurricular events. And I think what I found actually is those friends that have stuck with me throughout the 3 years are those that there really are your true friends that can appreciate your goals in life and what you're looking to achieve, and understand those trade-offs. And I mean, and everybody at some point in life is going to have different priorities, and their priorities may shift slightly. And from my perspective, though, I still, as much as school was definitely a priority and everything about Anderson, I think by the end of the program, it wasn't so much about school anymore. It was just another aspect of my life that I was involved with, whether it's time at work, time at Anderson, time with friends from Anderson, outside Anderson, or time with your family. And I think that thing is it's just about understanding what you're getting into, because it's not easy by any means. You're going to learn a lot about time management over the next 3 years. Recognizing there are holidays that you're going to make the most of, but it's definitely some weekends you're not going to be hanging out with friends and family and significant others. You're going to be with your classmates, or you're going to be studying and reading on the weekends. I think, again, don't want to put it lightly, but just recognize that it's going to have an imprint in your life. But the goal would be to make it a positive one, and try to gel the worlds if at all possible.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we're all going to have very similar responses to this, because it's definitely a time commitment. And I think your family eventually will understand when they realize you've been up until 2 or 3 every night getting stuff done. They realize your time is going to be restricted. And like you said, a lot of your good friends end up understanding. It's amazing, because I've had friends call me maybe on every other week. Hey, you want to go out? I can't. Hey, you want to go out? I can't. And they've been doing it for the past 3 years. They don't get discouraged. And so now that it's time for graduation, they're all showing up, and that's how you get to tell who your real friends are. Not they're not fair weather friends. They realize your time is going to be restricted. But at the same time, your first and second quarter might be a little more difficult in terms of you getting adjusted to the program. But eventually, like James said, it becomes another aspect of your life. You learn how to manage work, school. You end up doing work during class, and you end up doing classwork during work. So it's just, and then in between things, you end up seeing family, friends, and even with friends, right? The first couple of quarters, we're still getting used to each other by going out. But once you know each other well enough, you end up bringing your outside friends, and you just end up growing your group of friends. So I think eventually, the third year gets a lot easier to be able to manage time with family, with friends, and at work and at school, just because you end up learning where your priorities need to be at that point, right? And I think that was the biggest thing for me, is just being able to get into the groove of being able to manage between the different things that are going on in my life.
Interesting enough for me, I mean, I have friends that after seeing sort of what Anderson was about in my first year, they applied. I'm a 2007 graduate. A friend in the 2008 class, or a friend in the 2009 class, and it was just a result of me going to Anderson and sort of letting them kind of have insight into what it's about, and the excitement that surrounds it, and ultimately they became students as well. So it's just the world's kind of how they come together, and it's a great.
Yeah, definitely sharing our experience with outside friends has brought people now into the family. And speaking of family, my family thought it was great, that I was going back to school. They thought, hey, education, fantastic. Until they saw me staying up until 2 in the morning. Like you said, I lost 15 pounds in the first 3 months. And, there's another misconception, you'll lose weight in this program. But, that's what it was like. And, suddenly they were worried for my health, But I think they actually got to understand after I managed my time and figured out all the things I needed to do to get through the program, they were okay with it. My friends, on the other hand, hated it. Because I had this group of friends, that they came to my house every week for dinner. I mean, they counted on me to be fed, and suddenly that stopped. So yeah, they didn't like it one bit. But slowly though, it's like these guys said, we bring our worlds together, and outside friends and school friends, they all get to know each other, and pretty soon we're all doing the same things together. And so, there's now very little distinction, between school friends and not school friends. Now we're just friends, you know, and we're all family. And I think that distinction is really going to be going away, you know, the further along you get in the program. And as James said too, it's a matter of just managing, you know. And once you get that time management down, and you figure out, you know, what things you need to do to cultivate all of your relationships, you do it. And after a while, you don't give it a second thought.